so everybody gets to see the bottom of my head for a second. I know, Facebook. I know you probably see the bottom of my head right now, but here we are. Hey, Facebook land, look who we have here today. We have Jessica Wellington, who's been on the Clint Eastwood movie, The Mule, and she's on the brand new season of Frankie and Grace. Let's chop it up with your friend and mine, the amazingly great human being of Jessica Wellington. Hi.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited to have you, Jessica.
We're both. It's later over there, right?
Where are you at?
I'm in LA.
Okay, I'm clear over in Vegas.
Okay, but you still have no excuse to look this good so early. I'm really jealous.
Wait until 2 o'clock. It goes south. So tell me about Jessica Wellington growing up in North Carolina, all the way famous in Hollywood. I want to hear this story, Jessica.
Well, I definitely don't consider myself famous yet, but thank you. That's very sweet. Maybe one day that would be nice.
Yes.
I don't know. It's definitely different. I know that, like you said, you were a veteran. I'm a veteran. I went in the Air Force, and I put in that I wanted to stay everywhere, North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, all right there. And they sent me to England. So that was the best thing they could have done for me, honestly, or I never would have left.
I told them I wanted to be anywhere in the middle of Germany, and that turns out to be Nebraska of Germany.
So you have to put the exact opposite of what you want, and then that's what you get. Yeah.
Tell me about going from, growing up. When were you first known for being funny?
I grew up mostly with my dad, so he always had a good sense of humor. And we have a lot of, I don't know if I can cuss, but bull crap, in our family. And it's just a lot of times easier to laugh it off than it is to dwell on it. So we were always really good at that. And plus I was a chubby kid in school, so it always helped to have a little bit of personality.
Yes.
So I got through that way. So yeah, I think I always tried to be funny since a kid. I just enjoyed it. I just liked being silly for the most part.
There was enough people that were serious.
Yeah.
Teachers, parents.
Right. It's like, this is my time to let loose.
They got enough straight answers out of other people. It was time for some levity with us.
Yeah.
So who were some of the people as you were young and growing up that said, you know what, you're funny? Did anybody come along and say, you're funny, you should try comedy as a young person?
No, but that's how I thought it worked. I remember I just had no idea that this was even an option. My dog has got her toy. As it was even an option for me. I had no clue. I thought somebody saw you on the street and you were just lucky, and they said, hey, you know what, you're funny, come with me. So I had no clue that it was even, comedy, it wasn't like it was back, like it is today. Like I can go to my hometown now and probably find an open mic, which is ridiculous. I live in a town that's less than, I think now, I looked it up not long ago, it's like just under 5,000 people, and it was less than that when I was there. So there's no way.
Wow. So when you've done acting, you've got credits out the kazoo, being on TV, and you've got movies and stuff like that, and I can't even talk about it. I get tongue tied. But how did you go from being, Jessica Wellington in North Carolina to somebody in Hollywood and on stages with opening for Liza Schlesinger? How did that happen?
Good question. I wish I knew. I don't know. It's funny because when I was a kid, I used to always, when I was 3 and toddler and all that, we have a ton of pictures of me. I like to play dress up, and I put on my grandma's heels and wear pearls and her purse and all that and carry it around. And they used to call me Hollywood. you know. And then when I would get angry as a, like a 10, 11-year-old, I used to always say that I was going to go to school far, far away in California. Now, that didn't work out right away. I went in the military, but it's funny how things eventually come back around. And I moved to California just to help a friend out. And that's where I went to a comedy club and realized that they had open mic and improv classes. And I'm like, you mean anybody can do this?
Wow.
Yeah, I had no clue. I wasn't listening to podcasts or any of that at the time. I think that was pretty new. Like, I had no clue. There's so much information out there for people now. It's crazy, isn't it?
It is. I can get all trained in my living room, how to do this all, and then step on stage, not with a lot of shortcuts, but with some really good training behind me.
Yeah. My first comedy show was actually in Vegas. I was stationed in Vegas for 4 years.
What? At Nellis?
Yeah, Nellis. I was there for 4 years, and my first comedy show ever, they gave us free tickets, was to see Dennis Miller at the Caesar's Palace.
Wow, that's so cool. How did you like seeing him?
I really enjoyed it. I hate admitting this every time, but I heckled.
I want to hear.
It's so embarrassing. I don't even remember what I said, but I used to just respond to the jokes, and I'm thinking I'm making them funnier, and it was horrible, I'm sure. But luckily I was up like in the balcony, so it didn't, mess up the show, but I had no clue.
Quick story. The very first time I was thinking seriously about going on stage, I was watching an open mic, and a guy was bombing so badly, and his inside voice was coming out to the microphone. He was like, I think I'll go home and kill myself. And the place was silent. So I said, hell, just make fun of us Jews. And the place erupted. I'm like, why am I in the audience?
Right. So that's how you got started, was just watching a show too, and just.
Because like one day I was there with my daughter, and then like a month later, my daughter said, you know what? I've had enough of being your daughter. I think I want my own life. And we haven't spoken 6 years. And I knew it was going to be that way because I know my daughter and our relationship. I got hit by a drunk driver. I had brain trauma. She had to take care of me. It's a whole thing. And it was too much for her, right?
Wow,
and so I'm giving her space. But that day I called Ace's Comedy Club in Marietta and said, look, you want to save my life? Get me on stage. I mean, today. So that's the day I decided to do something with my funny bone to live.
That's amazing. What an inspiring story.
Yeah, isn't it funny too?
Well, that's the beauty of this, is that we get to take all of our tragedies and laugh at them and say, isn't it stupid to be human? It's so stupid. What are we doing?
I know. Oh my gosh. So you got on stage that very first time. You went to classes and then got on stage, or you did them aside? Yeah.
Trying to get this squeaky away.
Who gets to say that they taught you comedy? Who's that lucky stiff?
That's Brian Crawl. I have the tattoo of I can't get it, of the first comedy club that I started at. He's a great guy. I ended up managing the club. I actually started with improv. I started with improv classes. I did that. I didn't think I was too horrible, but once I found stand-up, I was like, oh, this is it. I guess it's kind of selfish, because you're like, oh, I can do this all by myself, make them laugh all by myself, and it's all mine,
Don't have to share any glory with nobody. Nobody can pull you down.
No. Yeah, but you fail on your own too. You learn that quickly. But yeah, I'll always have a love for improv. I still wish I was doing it, at least in my spare time or something, because I think it's good for everybody, just to keep juices going and flowing and keep your creativity going,
Yes. So which did you do first? I got lost in my brain.
I started with improv.
Okay. So what were some funny experiences with improv or early comedy for you? Do you have any funny stories?
Well, one time I did what they called strip prov. which is just like it sounds, you know how to strip poker, but in strip improv, you wear clothes, and then if you ask a question, like you have to lose a piece of clothing every 5 minutes, you lose a piece of clothing, all this. And these burlesque girls at the club had taught me how to do the tassels, and I was so excited to show off that I could do that almost immediately I took off my shirt and I had to do the whole show just in tassels.
That's an interesting skill to have, to be able to make those tassels go.
Yeah, I found out that if you have big boobs, though, it's not that hard.
Oh my gosh, I'd fail.
Is I'm sitting there topless, and I wore all these little tiny hats. I had like a little tiny hat, and then a tinier, a little bit bigger, and all these hats, and everybody's watching me. They're laughing because it's like she's already topless, but she had all these hats on. What is she doing?
Well, when you first got up on your own doing comedy on stage, were you nervous or scared?
That is something that I did know from a young age, is that I loved the stage. I was in 4-H for years, and I always did the public speaking contests, and I always did really well. And then when I was in 6th grade, I ran for assistant secretary of the school. I did nothing. I won. I did nothing with it. I only wanted to do the speech. And it was the time during the OJ trial. So my ending line was, if you don't object, you must elect Jessica Wellington. So I got a big standing ovation, and I was like, that's all I needed. Thank you. Good night.
When I was a freshman in high school, I ran for secretary too. And I stole a line off Leave It to Beaver, like anyone knows what that is. Now they think it's a porn site. And so I took this line that said, vote for me. And everybody was doing these long-winded speeches. And I just got up there and said, vote for me, and went on my merry way and won.
You always had like a love though for the stage, and we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
I did in the Air Force, I did a speech class because, again, I knew it was just going to be fun. And I was like, okay, here's a little credit. And the first speech I did was a demonstration speech. And the teacher made us give her the subject first. She thought I told her I was going to do a speech on how to shave a beaver. Okay. This woman thought I was so backwoods that I was literally going to show the class how to shave a real beaver. And of course it was all just, puns, trying to, and it was fun, and she enjoyed it, but she was like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. I really thought you were going to shave a beaver.
In the Army, I had one-liner in 3 years. My lieutenant, every time I was one woman in 1973 in Germany among 2,000 men. So even though I was a whack all day long, it was like they wanted a whack at me. And so this lieutenant, I walked in the office, anytime he'd say, they call me the 60-minute man, and all the guys would laugh at my expense. So just one day, I got the nerve with my one-liner, and I didn't even plan it. I just said, what, to get it up?
Oh God, I know how you feel. Like when I was in the military, I was ammo, so I was in a very male-dominated career field, and it's rough. You got to get those one-liners in.
You do. Like usually the one-liners are like, go F off all day long. That was crazy, it's crazy because like I was not that girl in school, high school or college, that anybody said, oh, now that's the girl I want. But you put me in Germany among 2,000 men, all of a sudden I'm Kim Kardashian. That was just didn't seem real,
Right.
So do you have other funny stories from your military experience?
Do you remember a lot of them? I mean, because I'm honestly, like, I don't think I have a good memory, because there's a lot of shit that happened, and I just, I don't remember. And I know we drank a lot, but
a lot. If I had the money back from all the drinking, man, could buy a new liver.
Oh, I mean, I remember one time the guys set a couch on fire in the dorms and threw it off the balcony. I remember that. We had a guy from Indiana cleaning an engine in his bathtub.
We had a guy that tied a rope around his neck and jumped out a window, but he didn't tie the rope the right length and he broke both ankles. For some crazy reason, I thought that was so funny back then, you know?
Oh my God. You're sick, Linda.
Oh gosh. Oh, this one girl got raped 13 times in basic training, but they didn't weed her out of the riffraff and sent her to be the second woman among 2,000 men. Like, that makes sense. So she would sleep underneath the captain's desk every night. She was too afraid to go back to the barracks.
That is horrible.
Yeah, horrible. She could type like 300 words a minute or something crazy, but she would type and then she would be talking into thin air. I mean, she had literally lost her mind from the trauma.
Wow.
So it wasn't all fun and games, but you know, you have to find a way to make it funny.
Yeah, you do. Yeah. That's rough.
And sometimes.
Fucking VA.
Did you, when you were in the military, did you run across anybody you'd known before going into the Air Force?
I don't think so.
I was in Germany just handling paper in a finance department. All of a sudden it said Dennis, and whatever his last name was. And I go, I had one of these in my high school. So I look at the same address. I'm like, holy Toledo. So I'm waiting for him and he comes through to get his money. And I go, do you remember me? And he goes, oh, you know, and he asked me out, but I was engaged at the time. And so I had to pass on. That would have been the only guy that ever asked me out from my high school too. Damn it.
Oh. Well, he did ask you out. You can't take that away from him. So he did. You got to turn down. You got to turn it down. That's even better. Better story.
Get even, finally.
Right. I do remember, I don't know if you know, in North Carolina, my dad is really into it. There's a dance that they call shagging. He does a lot of competitions, all that, and they do it to beach music. Well, he came to visit me when I was in England. And he brought this T-shirt that he wanted to wear that said Sugarfoot Shag Club. And on the back it said, we do it for fun. And I was like, Dad, you can't wear that here. Unless, I mean, you can, but it means something completely different. Nobody knows about the dance of shag in England.
Oh my gosh. Did you live on the economy in England or did you live on a base?
For the first year or so, I lived on base in the dorms, and then I did move out to a pretty nice apartment. I really missed it. It was like 3-bedroom, 2 baths. That's like one of the biggest apartments I've had. Yeah.
Wow. What was it like being in the over there in the UK as an American citizen in the military?
I ended up loving England so much. It was so fun, and just to be able to explore and all the history there. The only thing that sucks about England is the weather. The weather is horrible and gloomy all the time. It took me months just to get used to that, because I'd be like, oh, well, it's drizzling outside. I guess I'll stay in. And you soon learn that you're never going to go out then, you know? So that's the only thing. But I also went to Paris for like 2 weeks on vacation while I was there. I wish I had more time because I wanted to go to Greece, and hopefully one day I'll still do that. But just being in Europe and overseas was amazing. And I tried so hard to stay overseas, but I was too late on my dream sheet, and they sent me to Nellis.
What was it like being at Nellis? Because then you'd have a lot of action in the city.
Yeah, you do have Vegas, but I will say Nellis is the base it feels like such a high profile base, and it's got all the training and all that. And we had such long shifts all the time. It was rough. I didn't really like
They make you work long shifts, longer than 8 hours.
Oh yeah. We were on 12-hour shifts regular there, and that it just sucked. But I did when I was in Vegas, I ended up meeting a guy that was military, retired, and he owned a DJ business, and I ended up DJing weddings part time, and that was the most fun. That got
Wow.
me on the mic really for the first time and being really comfortable on it. And we did like these auditions, and he said that's why I decided to hire and train you, is because you were just so comfortable and easy on the microphone. It was still old school, CDs and all that, and I didn't get tech, too high tech, but I could do the mic and do the first dance and the cake cutting, and I was good at that stuff. So I really enjoyed that. I enjoyed that when I was in Nellis.
What's your favorite experience in a movie and on stage doing comedy? Like those moments you won't ever forget.
Well, I'll never forget. Now, going in to do Grace and Frankie, I was so excited, and I love them both to death, both Lily Tomlin and Jane Fonda, But there was something about Lily. I thought, you get all these wild ideas in your mind, and I'm like, you know what? I think we're really going to connect. Like I can really see us being pals and going for a drink after this. I was like, she's gonna love me, right?
What's not to love?
Not that she didn't like me. We had a great time. We had a great conversation, but it ended up being Jane because I was playing a SIM card dealer, and originally it was supposed to be a drug dealer. And I told her about how my mom was a crackhead and all this stuff. And I'm not even thinking like, oh, this is sad. You know what I mean? I'm just thinking, oh yeah, this is normal, right? Well, she ended up loving me so much, and she gave me a big kiss before I left, and I was like, wow. It blew my mind. It just never dawned on me like, oh, she feels sorry for me.
My parents went through the Holocaust, and I tell it like it's, thin air, it's like, yeah, my parents went through the Holocaust, blah, blah, blah. And I look at people and they're like in a funk, and I'm just saying it like it's apples and oranges, whatever, your parents were plumbers, well, mine went through the Holocaust.
Oh, Linda and the hanging man, isn't that funny?
I'm the Debbie Downer. I can bring any party down. You think you have problems. Anyway, they put me in a city in Germany called Hanau. Turns out that's where the Grimm brothers are from.
Okay.
And my grandmother, who died in Minsk concentration camp, was born there. So who's grimmer? I think we're winning.
Yeah. I think so.
Things you can't say on stage,
No.
Oh God, we have to laugh at all our pain or we'll die.
Yeah. All right.
We have to. So who have been some people in the comedy scene that have helped you get to where you're at, like encouraging you or that you want to shout out to?
Well, first off, would definitely be Eliza, because she was like one of the first ones to let me feature for her, and she took me to Vegas. I got to do was it Ace Inside the Mirage, which was an amazing experience. Russell Peters has been really good to me. He's such a great guy. Joey Diaz has been an amazing guy. Whitney Cummings, Bert Kreischer. I mean, there's so many. You know how it is in this business. You can't make it without other people. They have to be there to help you. And working at the Comedy Store, I've met so many great comics that even if they haven't, let me feature or whatever, they've let me pick their ear or pick their brain. And what an opportunity,
Yes. You work at the Comedy Store, and your bio said you're the doorman there, or one of the doormen?
I was the first female door guy.
Wow. Billy Toledo, the Air Force comes back to help you.
Yeah, I did. I was like, I know how to check IDs. Step back.
Let's see your dog. I want to see.
Oh,
dog you
Running
have?
around now. There's no way I'm gonna be able to catch her, and I'm not wearing pants, so I'm not sticking up.
What kind of dog do you have, Jessica?
She has a chug, so she's a pug Chihuahua mix.
Oh, I bet she's adorable.
She,
So what? So how many years have you been at the Comedy Store?
2.5 years, maybe going on 3 now.
Have there been any crazy scenarios that have happened there without telling names of who involved? But there's got to be funny stuff that's gone down at the Comedy Store.
There's so much fun stuff and so many stories. Like I know Dennis Rodman came in one night and he heckled and got kicked out and didn't pay for his meal. I'll never forget that. It's fucking Dennis Rodman. One night, let's see. Oh, I just forgot. Busta Rhymes. I keep always forgetting. Busta Rhymes kissed me one night when I was in there. I was like, this is weird. I thought he was going to kill me. He's a big dude.
I giggle so much when he's doing his rap. His rap makes me giggle. It's so fast.
Oh.
The speed makes me giggle. I don't know what's wrong with me. I would love to meet him. That must have been cool.
It was funny. It was, Dave Chappelle was on stage. I'm working the door. And Dave lit up a cigarette. And we can allow that because it's on stage. It's like a performance thing. But then in the back of the room, Busta Rhymes lit up a cigarette. And I didn't, I'm not like, oh, that's Busta Rhymes. I'm not going to say anything. So I tapped him on the shoulder and I was like, I'm sorry, you can't smoke in here. And he turned around and grabbed me by the shoulders. And I thought, he stared at me and I thought, oh my God, this guy's about to kill me. Right? And then he just gave me a big smooch and left. And I was like, whoa!
Wow. That's a moment. Holy Toledo. So some of the women that have come through, I like giving women in comedy a voice. I mean, like speaking of them, because men get a lot of attention in comedy, as we know. Tell me about some really cool things with Liza and other women that you've met.
They're so good. Nikki Glazer too. She's been amazing and had me on her XM show, and I've gotten to open for her in Sacramento. And I'll say too, Nikki is one of those people. It's so weird that you can just open up to. Like, I told her things. We ended up having conversations in the green room that I had not told anyone. Wow. So not only is she a great stand-up and a great comedian, but she is a great person. I'll never forget that. And I don't know if she really realizes how much that means to me.
I have body chills just hearing this. That's so cool.
Honestly, I don't know. She's just great. Yeah. I mean, and so many women, if we have to help each other out in this business, or it's just not going to go down. And you know how, I know it's a stereotype, but women, we like to bicker with each other, and we got to get over that and be like, even if we bicker, screw it. It's still another woman in comedy. We have to learn how to support them and help them out, Yes,
absolutely. So what's going on with in LA right now? Are there any hopes of reopening the city, and what plans do you have as soon as this all ends? Do you have some things in the works that you want to mention that are going to be going down for you?
I do know that I wish I had the date with me right now. I'll be doing an online show with Ngaio Bealum. That should be pretty fun. He's a great stand-up. He was on Netflix's Cooking on High.
Yes.
As the weed expert. So he's hilarious. He does so many weed festivals and stuff because he's just so funny. So I'm gonna be doing that soon. Looking for that next month.
What's the name of the show?
I don't even have my phone. I wish.
That's okay. I got the.
But I'll be posting about it.
Okay.
For sure, I'll be posting.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the only thing really I got shaking at the moment. I did go do a weekend in Sacramento recently, and I did a one-nighter in Arizona. I'd love to do some more live gigs. So if there's any clubs that are open, I'm free.
Wow, super cool. In the course of a year before the pandemic, how often in a year did you get to Vegas? I can't wait to see you in person and watch your comedy.
Honestly, I've only been there a couple times. I know I did one night. I did a biker bar. It was for this weed show, the Gateway show, and it was a lot of fun. It was a little different, a little scary at first, all those bikes, but and bikers, but it was a good time. And then I did the Mirage with Eliza, which was like, come on, opposites, going from a biker bar and then getting to stay in a suite with a big tub, and I was like, this is weird.
How many people are in the audience at the Mirage?
I think that night we had like 600 or 700.
Wow.
It's crazy. That was the biggest crowd of, yeah, it was crazy.
That's so great. Oh my gosh. Do you do podcasts, and like where can people follow you to make you even more famous?
Please follow me at Jess Wellington 2 on everything across the board. I do have a podcast with Felicia Michaels called The Liars Club. We have 2 comics come on. They both tell 2 stories each. One's true, one's a lie. And along with our audience, we try to debunk the lie. So it's really fun. It's interactive. Come play along with us. We'd love to have you. We're on YouTube and anywhere that you stream podcasts.
That's super cool. I would win that because I was raised to lie.
Oh yeah, well, we'll definitely get you on so we can have some, good old Holocaust stories,
They are so cool. You have no idea. People need to do that, I don't know what their problem is. Oh my gosh. So I got places for people to follow you. You came on and that's so nice of you to be here today. What would you like to tell people? Because you see the world through a comic's eye and you're good at acting. So how can people act or fake it to make it through the rest of this pandemic, brand new experience we've never had before? Who knows how much longer this will last?
I don't know. If fake it to make it, it's pretty hard because I'm pretty close to cracking myself, Linda.
Why do you think I'm doing this?
Like, as much as I love that we have Zoom to connect, I'm so tired of talking to people through this. Like, I'm so happy it's here. It's a great platform for us to use, but I just want to see people in person so bad.
Exactly. Yeah.
I don't know. Try to stay happy. Watch something. I don't know. Just try and laugh every day, at least once.
And watch her on Frankie and Grace.
Please.
And her podcast, The Liars Club, right?
Yes.
With Felicia Michaels.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I met you at Dante Rusciolelli and Rebecca Koken's The Portland Comedy Festival 2019. And I thought you were so dope that night, but I was a little bit starstruck. I'm not going to lie. So I stayed back, and then I thought, what the heck? I'll invite you on and see if you're cool. And you're so cool. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Linda. I've really had a good time. It was really nice talking to you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Love you a lot.